Welcome back to the final game of the HGC weekend. It has been a rocker of a series, and nothing can top probably that barn burner of a Game 4. But you know what? We're going to try with Game 5 between ENDEMIC and Team Octalysis.
Look, I think every fan out there who knows HGC knows what map it's going to be. You do not have a final game in a series without this map.
Fair
they know.
point.
I don't even have. We don't even have to show a graphic.
You know
Everybody
what we're talking
knows.
about. You know, don't you? Yeah, you know. We're gonna show you the graphic anyway pretty soon. It's just who picked it. Who picked it? Because first pick has been pretty important, or it was, and then things changed. And second pick became more important. ENDEMIC won on Cursed Hollow, and then Octalysis won on their map Tomb. And now ENDEMIC takes us to Towers of Doom. And as Jay House suggested, we've seen a few crazy Towers of Doom games in our days. Shout
out to the people out there that did type out Braxis in chat. We all know that that was just for the memes. But Towers of Doom, it always comes down to this. It's always some of the most epic endings, and sometimes it's going to be stops. It's just you never know what you're going to get with this map, but it always brings a bit of excitement because there's always the comeback potential on this battleground, which is what makes it one of the best in the competitive scene. So I'm all for it. As soon as we went to break, I'm like, it's got to be Towers. It's got to be. I come back, I'm waiting, I see it. It's Towers, man. I love it.
All I wanted was a map that allowed for a bunch of scrappy fights somewhere. So I was like, Battlefield of Eternity or Towers of Doom. Either of those will do. I am very happy for this. And we're just about to get into the draft. Let's do it. This is it. It's all or nothing for these teams as we head to Towers of Doom.
In before Sergeant Hammer, and then it becomes really slow.
Please no. I want last game all over again. That was so fun.
Okay, Abathur, I'm pretty sure shouldn't make it through this draft. Genji's going to be banned out. Octalysis has been tortured by that, despite getting that win last game. Biggie is a beast on that hero. Urel, Dahako,
yes.
What you got?
Leaves up both Urel and Dahaka. Dahaka, if Octalysis wants the global, Octalysis wants the Johanna.
Well, that also counters against the potential Hammer, because Hammer Johanna could have been picked up in this rotation by ENDEMIC, so the Johanna does do well to give you multiple reasons to say, look, if that's a thing, we're going to do our best to mitigate that right out of the gate. And Johanna, other teams would be highly prioritizing this. Johanna, I think, is still incredibly strong, and now that Justine and team are picking this up, I'm really digging it. I just absolutely impressed with Octalys's regained focus on their drafting and their playstyle. We'll see if they can hold up, but ENDEMIC coming out with 2 power picks of their own.
Yo, Octalysis made a strong case for the Urel, Murd, and Hammer squad together because they dove in, Draded, handled himself, Prismaticism handled himself, having the Dimensional Shift and the Phoenix to Warp, and all it was just jumping in, diving for a target, and having the follow-up, knowing it's there. Now ENDEMIC gets to put that to the test.
The Murd and Johanna is ultimate protection for a Sergeant Hammer. I anticipate if it doesn't get picked up here by Octalysis, that it is a likely second ban. Octalysis has run it themselves. I believe their most recent one would have been the Battlefield of Eternity game. We'll see if that comes in. I, for one, am okay if it does make it through. Dahaka, is Dahaka worth risking in the second ban territory on a map like Towers of Doom?
Blaze is still up too. If they want the Blaze Johanna synergy later on down the road, I think it's very likely that we see Li Ming. Maybe not so much now from Octalysis, but possibly because Octalysis have used Johanna and Li Ming before. You group them up, you knock them down with the bowling ball of her Arcane Orb, but we have Tracer, so a lot more explosive play possible now. Likely Draded playing that hero.
And I think if you're Octalysis, you have to ban Sergeant Hammer. It's very difficult for Tracer to get onto Sergeant Hammers for kills. The armor alone is tough enough. Trying to go under that giant umbrella known as Sergeant Hammer's siege auto attacks is very difficult to do. So for ENDEMIC, do you think that you have to ban the Tassadar at this point? Tassadar was traded last game, but I think just about anybody can play Tassadar. And Prismat, the ultimate flex hero, ultimate flex player.
Not sure what they want to ban out from there. They'll ban Dahaka, which gives Urel a likely advantage for rotations with the Divine Steed. Octalysis has to consider the Sergeant Hammer, like you said, but also Phoenix. Phoenix has been such a solid force for teams, both teams in the series.
And the one thing that happens is that Johanna does okay versus Sergeant Hammer. Johanna does very well against Jaina because Jaina likes to control those frontline heroes with the slows. And you take away Phoenix out of that, who has a little bit more sustained damage all around control. Now you've taken that away and you've pushed them into a potential Jaina. Hanzo is definitely still available, which ENDEMIC has been slaying with so far.
Yes.
So Hanzo seems likely, but a secondary pairing I think is there. The thing about the Hanzo though is that you have a Tracer on the other side. So what type of protection are you going to get that in the form of a support?
ENDEMIC might move back into the Uther. They did it on Curse Hollow versus Double Reset when they had Genji and Hanzo though.
I'd even be okay with a Karazim at this point. Karazim into Johanna isn't super appealing, but Karazim does chase down the Tracer very well. Instead, we're going to get Deckard Li Ming, which takes the Li Ming out of the hands of Octalysis, who we know they love to run it as well.
Yeah, Prisma has been this whole weekend loving his Li Ming play and showing why.
You mentioned heroes that, I mean, Tracer is generally traded. The Hanzo has generally been traded as well. So if you were thinking that the Hanzo might come up on the other side and you might go Li Ming for Prismat, that's now maybe not the option that you're going to have. So you're going to have to improvise just a little bit in the draft if that was your strategy.
Is this Prismat's Chromie?
It very well could be. Li Ming does have the Force Armor at level 1 as long as you're hitting magic missiles. Deckard has the ultimate sustain, so if you're continuing to hit targets, Deckard just passes out potions. Yrel and Murden, very difficult to take down. But they are all in on that Tracer.
All right. And they have a lot more safety. So safe of a composition now. To just devote to Tracer.
Hanzo Li Ming is, I mean,
it's a very solid duo.
Double support, we've seen it from certain teams. I don't know if we're going to see it here, especially with just a Li Ming back there. Hanzo seems strong, can trade out very well with the Tracer, but Greymane is another hero with a high enough health pool and could trade out versus Tracer. Level 7, you pick up that extra auto attack range to trade out into Tracer. You have the high health pool, you can execute her in Worgen form. ENDEMIC has a tough decision here to make, but they do have good options available to them.
Greymane, Hanzo. We're looking at Dansky. He has been playing more melees lately. Can he afford to though versus something like Blessed Shield, the Roots, the Jet Propulsion? No, he'll stick with the Hanzo for our final draft.
Tracer does have targets, but they are both very good at trading out against the Tracer or surviving against that Deckard as well in there. So there's a lot of counterplay, but there are opportunities that are abundant on both sides here in the amount of Dragon Arrows that we've seen land this series. They have been high impact in every single team fight.
Yeah, I would even caution to say that after Dansky's Hanzo game, last game, if he's feeling that good on Hanzo, don't change it. Just keep him on it. He's making plays. It's looking pretty good. And now you have big impact with a possible reset setup behind it. Murd and you're all together, but there is a lot of sustain, a lot of poke for what Octalysis has here. It's a lot of pressure though on their Tracer player. And that's probably going to be traded. Here we go.
Picture in picture in picture. Either way, we've got ENDEMIC coming out here on the left trying to pick up this victory, as it will be Dansky again on that Hanzo. Cure, of course, will be on the Yrel. Biggie looking for those resets on Li Ming. Michael Udall on the Deckard here. Twins indeed. And B-Kid on the front line on Murden.
Coming back in after winning the last game, a hard-fought victory. Justing playing Johanna. Buds is on Malfurion. Draded. All eyes are on him on Tracer. Prismaticism backing him up as the Tassadar. And Goku playing Blaze for Team Octalysis.
The other thing to keep in mind is Yrel. We've seen varying level 4 talents. She can provide armor with one of those. That can help you survive during some of those pulse bombs as long as that is very well communicated. We'll see as this goes on, but Draded being very aggressive here in the early game, looking for those. And when you have a Tash shield, definitely allows you to be far more aggressive than you would be otherwise.
We'll see if B-Kid can stack up his perfect storm in the same way that Justing did last game. Starts with this though, does hit the stun. Recall out for Draded into the safety of a shield as Octalysis is ready to fire back.
Yeah, they took out quite a bit of health from Draded there, but unable to confirm any kills. And the fighting has been so furious in the bot lane that it has actually forced both of the solo laners to come down mid. The rotation top and then back bottom is what we, or back mid, is what we generally see in case of these camp invades. And with Blaze showing top, Yrel stayed mid, and now Octalysis is gonna have to concede this. And that is the difference why you see those rotations down at the 1 minute mark, is to defend against the invades. That's not what's happening here, but this is one thing you can do, is kind of proxy those sappers to come around the way that you would want them to come around and not do any structure damage.
Well, Octalysis understands the importance of these sappers. Draded used his pulse bomb, knowing that he could start building back up. The charge on that. Blaze was hopeful that he could slow the rotation of Yrel back up to the top, make her miss some of her experience, but she was able to get up there. That's the nice thing about having Avenging Wrath. You can get around some roadblocks.
Just jump over them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we see Yrel legs, and there's a Lunar right over your shoulder. I'm just wondering where Lunar is. Maybe that's new meta. Bouncy legs.
It has been weird that despite having a rework, we haven't seen too much of her, but her common counter is against Uther, and haven't seen too much of him either. Sustain healing is the hot, literally.
Yeah. For Raynor, he's got that movement speed at 13 next week. Maybe that'll be enough to bring him into the meta. Can't wait till next week, but all eyes are on our final game of this week. Here is Kira again, those roadblocks, hopping right over them. Level 4 picked up here for Endemic, and for Biggie, he does not see the same on Li Ming that Prismat does on the other side. Instead, opting for that dominance to make sure that if and when you get those takedowns, you do get that health back that can sometimes be desperately needed.
It does afford you to be slightly more aggressive, knowing that you get that first reset, but reliant on his team to help make sure that he can get there. And if he takes heavy casualties or a lot of damage from Octalysis in the process, being able to heal back up in case potions aren't around. Because that is one big concern, is how long it takes to be able to set up the potions around some of the altars, which we'll be activating our first phase momentarily, a triple altar phase.
It's another early and somewhat quiet start, but around the 3 to 4 minute mark on Tomb of the Spider Queen, it picked up pace drastically as we see Draded trying to zone out B-Kid and team. Interrupt onto Buzz is going to be there again. Again, no global here, so Tahaka cannot brush stalker. He was banned out, so it's Blaze and Yrel seeing who's willing to commit that rotation down, as for now it's a 4v4.
Both stopping off momentarily in the mid to get the soak there. And then we see how devoted, if either team is extra devoted, feeling like they need to get the early game advantage, coming bot instead of going up to the top, back to the top. Octalysis sends Blaze top. Yrel comes in here. Once this is seen, once it's spotted, Cure's here. See if Endemic can get any kills from this. They immediately start the channel though.
Yeah, once Iron Skin is used, there's no way of going in for the interrupt and buying a bit more time. They'll just need to keep an eye on Yrel to make sure she doesn't path through here, stay mounted. Instead, they're not going to get the dismount. That was the clear path. But Blaze getting that interrupt, as you had mentioned earlier, with some action going on down here at the bottom.
This time Octalysis is not too keen to give up their sappers. Prismat up in front. Oof.
That hurt. He shielded, but it was only after he took the damage. That's why it had that weird effect. And, you know, he's like, man, that really hurt.
Well, he does have Kala's Embrace this time. No light. So no armor to be burst through if the shield is used, which might change up the timing so that both Draded and even Prismaticism can get more healing out of their auto attacks from that.
Still waiting for Draded to find the perfect pulse bomb target. Kira's rotated all the way down, using that Divine Steed, coming in, lending a little bit of support for those sappers. Will rotate back up. Goku here in the top, still getting a pretty decent amount of siege damage done.
That's how I feel about this match too. It's been pretty darn good, Headless Horseman.
Horseman, not horseman, but horseman.
Yeah, I know. I had the emphasis on the wrong syllable there.
Emphasis.
Next altar phase, activating in 25. It's mid and bot. And Blaze and Urel continuing to do their thing for their teams, helping to ramp up these teams to heroic abilities. Hopefully a little bit faster than your opponents. But there's going to be sappers up for ENDEMIC. They're trying to get those faster so they might have the rotation better between the mid and bot, but these are spawning in just a few seconds.
Altars come up. Draded and B-Kid take a good look at each other. Roots go down. We see Justine trying to interrupt, but there's the tip, as we know what that does there. Interrupts on Prismat. Draded interrupting B-Kid at the bottom. The war on both fronts here for these teams.
Prismat starting the channel. Nobody really stopping him yet. Blaze is stalled out. Urel Deckard goes forward and does get that for the stop. ENDEMIC starting to move forward now. The sappers are coming in, and the rest want to follow. Urel trying to handle both Prismaticism, and Blaze has still been in the mid lane, hoping to get Octalysis 10.
10 is dangerously close. Nature's Cure used on Justine. Blaze trying to soak 10 mid. ENDEMIC, they're going to get the altar at the bottom. Prismat interrupted there. 10 very close for both teams as it's picked up first here by ENDEMIC, and just moments later, Octalysis. See if these teams are willing to fight as another interrupt comes out here for ENDEMIC.
This feels a whole lot like the last game. Very even game. Sonic Arrow gets another stall. ENDEMIC trying to break the barricade down, and Carol jump right over it. Diving in on top of Goku, does have Ardent Defender if necessary. Dragon's Arrow is wide along the side. Blessed Shield to come out.
Now Cure is going to be the target. Stay on, Listen's going to be there. B-Kid able to get out of there. The bunker almost taking him down. Armor is there, and second wind will be there. Ardent Defender didn't absorb a lot of damage, so not a very significant heal. Goku going to get interrupted one more time. Justine, he's going to go down. B-Kid starting this fight. Draded, he's going to be the second to fall.
B-Kid starts the fight. Malfurion hoping to finish it. Doesn't get it. 3 fall as ENDEMIC get set up for more. Dimensional Shift to use. Dansky wants to chase that down. You see Leeming from one side with the lasers and Dansky on the other with the arrows. They get that kill on Tassadar. They're leaving the altar so they get more out of it as they take down this bell tower, and Blaze went right back to top to start the hard work of soaking experience back up to what was just lost.
This is bad for Octalysis. Not only are they losing that, as we take another look here, it started with the interrupt, the fight on both fronts. Justine, the dwarf toss in by B-Kid started it all. And another jump in by Urel. Apparently it's good to jump around in this game.
I love that B-Kid jumped on top of Justine, slammed down to kill Johanna, insta uses his heroic ability, and it's just like, we're fighting. We're in here, let's go, Avatar, everything. There's gonna be another Dragon's Arrow avoided, which allows Octalysis to get back, but it does push them back and gives up some ground so that ENDEMIC can move these sappers forward.
Tassadar, his sieging potential is much stronger at 16. And Tracer, it's minimal at best. And so to reclaim this bot lane will be difficult, at least for a short bit. ENDEMIC, with a full level lead, will likely have 13 by the next altar phase, but fortunately for Octalysis, it is that double altar at the top, which is a little bit more manageable. We'll see what Octalysis can do in the meantime, and if ENDEMIC can maybe find another kill.
Yeah, because of that, ENDEMIC likely to just allow Octalysis to have their safe altar. They are way ahead in core health, and then keep this bottom lane in their favor for later on, for another sapper push possibly. Though, with the poke, this fort is about halfway down in health. Seeing Urel make the transition back up to clear that out first. Team Octalysis is still waiting until they can get 13, but have a lot of mobility to try to make sure that they can pick up that altar.
Blessed Shield was used there. It's going to keep people in place. Prismat eats a little bit of that Arcane Orb. Blaze looks like he'll be uninterrupted in that top lane, so we'll keep an eye on everything. As you can see, the trade-off here. But Octalysis whittling away ever so slightly. They've got themselves a kill here. Murd, and they catch out Dragon Arrow in return. Nature's Cure used on Justine, I believe. Maybe that was on Prismat.
You know, we saw Michael Udall go back to help Hanzo with the camp. So not having the supporting there for the front line, maybe biting off a little bit more than they could chew, gives up this bottom bell tower, which is a welcome sign to Team Octalysis. They were desperate to get that back, clear out the sappers, and now they're almost caught back up. The main thing is that it's 33-18 when looking at the cores.
They're going to have to keep the pace up. They can't just rely on that one pick, which was their first of the game. They're going to need many more. They're focusing on the bottom sapper camp as Goku and Cure continue to battle it out. But this bottom is going to have priority. Yrel already rotating down. Blaze is going to join. Justine and team, they're holding strong for now. You can see Yrel zoning out the Blaze. It's just a matter of Octalysis with the next phase being that single altar. Shortly after that will be that triple altar. And so Octalysis, they're back in the experience game, but they are still that huge deficit they have to overcome.
Next will be a solo altar phase. That should help Octalysis out, start to win team fights, and because we're getting into the later stages of the game, maybe start to force some staggered deaths. Beacon Dwarf tosses out before he can be condemned out of that. You're likely to have a full fight on our hands for this one.
There's no avoiding it if you're Octalysis. ENDEMIC, you have a substantial enough lead that you can kind of back away. Tassadar and Blaze were trying to do their best to soak for 16. The problem is they're now split from their team. There's a stun follow-up. Altar spawn. It's going to be started. Blaze is going to make it in here. Tassadar and team, Yrel's dealing with those. As the fight here on this side is where all the firepower lies. But Octalysis, they are heavily split and would like to be together as they move forward.
Yeah, especially because Tassadar is split from Draded from that Tracer. Blessed Shield did not connect. That was a lot of the lockdown to kick things off for Octalysis. But we'll see if they can hang in nonetheless. Cure is taking some damage. Draded putting in the harassment, takes some damage himself from Diginsky.
Scatter Arrow was nice, and now Draded still looking for somebody to collapse on. But Dragon Arrow is going to hit multiple people. Goku just hops into the bunker as multiple members do. Goku not going to make it out alive. He's the first to fall. Cure diving in, does have that Ardent Defender. He's holding strong for now.
Cure gets hit by a pulse bomb. And he has been holding strong. ENDEMIC take out Tassadar as they chase him down in the bottom. And that beautiful setup, forcing Team Octalysis into a choke. The Scroll of Sealing first. Stay a while and listen, locking down a mini from the Dragon's Arrow 2. Sets up Biggie to get the resets the Leeming needs to get a whole lot more in a team fight. And that gives a whole lot more for ENDEMIC. They pick up the altar. They are working on getting a bell tower 2. And there is the setup.
The amount of plays that B-Kid has managed, obviously the Twilight Dream in response, but Goku just desperately trying to get out of there. Cure, the plays on Yrel have been so significant. B-Kid on the other side. It is the front line of ENDEMIC that is driving the ship in this game, where there's been a lot of the damage dealers doing work, but this time B-Kid and Cure dominating this game.
And they're so beefy. The Twilight Dream hit both of them, hoping that maybe that you could get a kill on Yrel while she can't use our defender, or you can't dwarf toss out, but it just wasn't to be had. Part of that was the split of Octalysis trying to get back together. This looks a lot different though. They take out Yrel using the pulse bomb. Dragon's Arrow off the back of this though. Stay a while and listen. Malfurion's gonna come out of this and take a nap, but makes it into the bunker because he was woken up.
They still got to keep these sappers from going. Triple altar phase is next, and they are within lethal range. Twilight Dream in response. There's no way for them to siege up with no minions. They fought hard, they held on. Twilight Dream won't be available for this next team fight. They have some control for now. Triple altar, if all 3 are channeled or 2 are channeled, given the current circumstances in a boss, it is lights out for Octalysis, so they are fighting for their lives from here on out.
They are in a position where they can fight. The problem is mainly trying to get to that mid altar, if that's the one to be had, if that's where they want to fight. They're going to pass through where the sappers would be, try to force ENDEMIC down, separate them away from this, while Blaze moves in to harass on Yrel instead of getting his own.
Prismat starting the channel, going to be interrupted by the scroll there. Michael Udall a little bit low in terms of health. B-Kid holding position. Blaze and Urel trading out in the top.
Yeah.
If this goes very badly,
But
here we go.
There's a Dragon Zero. They make it out of the
Biggie.
scroll of ceiling, but Biggie's gone. Prismatis doesn't get a kill. They find a kill.
They're starting to mount this. If ENDEMIC had taken that fight and won it and got boss, it's game over. Instead, Octalysis finding their way back. This is going to be double altars channeled for them. I think they're not even going to risk it. They'll get this bottom bell tower back in a moment, but this keeps them in the game despite only getting a total of 6 shots. They still find themselves down. But that bot lane control, if they can get it back. Goku, he's not making it out of here.
He is not. J-How, I was terrified when Goku chose to stop a Urel, then had to back off, channel his own because he couldn't give that, and Divine Steed was there for Urel. Had Octalysis not gotten that kill, that might have been over. But getting the kill on Biggie when they needed it most. Now, though, they lose out on Blaze. They take bottom back. They're at 9-27. But losing Blaze loses a lot of their emphasis and their control on this battleground.
With Johanna mid, that takes away a lot of their control. Psystorm needs to go down to clear this. Cure eating a lot of this damage. Getting back this control would be huge here. Bless Shield's going to go out. Twilight Dream is locked down. 2 people. Sailon, listen, is going to hold in 1, but Li Ming is the first to fall. B-Kid taking a lot of damage. The healing static is there. Avatar is out. Traded in pursuit, trying to look for more.
Justin keeps B-Kid locked down. Cure is now shown up too. The Scroll of Sealing will lock down Justin momentarily. Draded with the Blessed Shield. And then the Twilight Dream follow-off is enough for Draded to get the kill. Let's see if they can get another one too. He's following Kier. He does not have the Pulse Bomb to follow up. There's only so much Johanna can do. Goku's back. He gets the jump in.
There's so much healing on that front line, but they are still 20 seconds away before Li Ming is up. Portal is available if they want to go, but Octalysis is keeping their foot on the gas. They're going to invade. They're going to take this camp. Cure not able to get there in time. B-Kid and Cure coming from both sides, still fighting for now. It's Goku and them. They're going in. They're trying to confirm another kill. Pulse Bomb goes out. B-Kid surviving for now. Somehow walks away, but he will fall.
Draded will not let him leave alive because they feel it. They know they need to keep these up. Getting another kill on Decker Kate is exactly what was necessary for this team. Now they have an altar behind this to start the channel, but they're questioning to see if they can get more. The problem is mid is pushed, top is pushed. They need to take it out quickly so they can get the channel.
Boss is being started by ENDEMIC, at least trying to get something out of this. The other thing to consider, that top keep did take some early damage. Octalysis is finding their way back into this game through the kills, through the team fights. Goku not there in time, but the bigger story here is Octalysis finding their way back. They are at 20. They have managed to take control of that bottom lane, and they have got themselves an altar, getting themselves within range, 22-5 here.
This is beautifully done by ENDEMIC. These swift rotations, trying to make the best of a bad situation, going up and getting boss now. The Sapper's top so that Octalysis can't push that in, so Octalysis has to adjust. They use the 20, they head to mid, and they take that down too. There's only 1 bell tower left for ENDEMIC, J-How, and it is the low one, unless ENDEMIC backs Octalysis off. Well, you know, if you have them both low too, and you get into a place where you can bring them down at the same time, that is such a power play.
0 to 100 real quick, if you've ever seen it. And now shielding here, Prismat again with that Psionic Echo and the Johanna have so much wave clear to defend against any minions that can push here to try and get onto this. Li Ming is your best poke, Hanzo not so much. We'll see how much Justin and team are willing to eat some of this damage that Biggie will try to bring out, and whether Octalysis can counter this. We are coming down. This is a game 5, and this is what you want to see on a Towers of Doom.
This is game 5, and the way these teams look at it, it feels like Western Clash. It's not all said and done. They still have series left, but it's a big one given what both the teams have done so far in phase 2.
Urel's coming in. Urel's coming in for the flank, but I think this is mostly for defense. Blaze could push in mid if he wanted to, but I think he's going to be forced to respond here. Here comes Cure, walks away, does Urel. Blaze has taken that mid bell tower, so 6 shots to 2. ENDEMIC can only win if they channel. Well, they can't even channel both at this point. They would have to reclaim one of these, but Octalysis is also close, Gilly. As you pointed out, that top bell tower on the side of ENDEMIC, super, super low.
That was perfect timing to get that. ENDEMIC had no time at all to try to put some damage back in for this. Now Octalysis, if they win a fight, they will take that top and they will hold, and they will probably be able to get a significant amount of that core damage down. A long-range Dragon's Arrow hits, but it's really just on Justin there.
Blaze is channeled. Ardent Defender is out. Goku making his way back into this fight. Prismat with the Infinite Archon. He's alive for now. Dimensional Shift is out. Michael Noodle gets caught. He's going to get knocked in. Justin has that Indestructible. He's going to be popped. And ENDEMIC walking away. This is going from bad to worse here for ENDEMIC.
The front line has pushed back all that ENDEMIC have left, and ENDEMIC doing whatever they can just to hold on. A jet propulsion nearly claims the life of Beacon.
Oh!
Goes in, but he survives.
Drayden goes down. Biggie gets the Calamity damage in there.
5 to 10. The bell tower is held. Can Octalysis send anyone up to get that top? It looks like, yes, they'll have to. They're going to lose this. Cure!
What? What? There's no way!
Oh, man. Prismaticism needs to get out of here. He's being chased down. Dimensional shifts just in case.
Oh, my God.
That top is gone for ENDEMIC, who now needs to set their sights on the bottom, and Octalysis wants to run down to hold it.
They're desperately here. Again, Prismat has that Psionic Echo. Li Ming trying to get it down. Li Ming with no mana has to walk back. Single altar is next. Only one bell tower in control here for ENDEMIC. Sappers coming in, potential 6-cap. I mean, this is Towers of Doom coming down to the last possible moment.
Octalysis is just forcing the hand of ENDEMIC now, especially with that cured death. He will be back in 3. He can port in, but nobody got mid, or nobody got top. Octalysis has gotten mid. ENDEMIC go back and get bots. They're only going to take the one shot from that.
Boss about 1 minute away, just under 1 minute. That is something we will keep track of after this fight, because undoubtedly there will be a fight here, and we'll see if it can determine this game as Octalysis has fought their way back. They're looking to hold strong. Archon is out. Huron team coming in for the flank. The damage is there. Bunker already used.
It was no stay a while after the fact to try to lock that front line down. Who was inside of it? Goku starts the channel, but Kira is up front and ready
Prismat
for
needs
action.
targets. Archon's about to expire. That's a significant loss in this team fight, Killer.
There's a problem. Seraphim Dragon's Arrow avoided by Buds. He had to avoid that, but he's still being chased down by B-Kid.
They're holding on for now. Justin manning the front line. There comes the blast shield. There comes the follow-up. Drayden looking, but Drayden gets stunned. That's going to be the first to fall. Dansky gets his way out. Stay a while and listen is going to be there. The Twilight Dream in response, but everybody on the side of ENDEMIC somehow surviving for now. Octalysis, they are fighting for their lives, and they are low, trying to survive.
They need to get out of here. Justin, he still has Indestructible, and it'll be popped. It's a little bit longer. Kira was hoping to knock him back. He will go down. That gives another reset to Big Impact. The Bunker was hoping to save him.
Boss.
He could drop it down. The boss, the channel.
ENDEMIC just has to channel this and get boss. We'll see what they can manage to pull off. That bottom bell tower is also low. Octalysis, I think their last stand comes on this boss.
Yes.
ENDEMIC is looking to end this game.
Yeah, Octalysis only has the 3. 24 seconds until Drayden is back. That was a major chunk of the damage. There is no Archon here. There is no Bunker. And there's no Twilight Dream. And still, Octalysis, this is it. This is the last stand.
No Archon available.
He's
the
knocked
knockback
away.
is going to be there. And that is going to be enough. ENDEMIC has clutched this series out and taken down Octalysis and moved into that top 4 spot.
I cannot tell you enough how crucial it was that ENDEMIC won that series. And props to them, man, because they played 10 hardcore games of Heroes of the Storm this weekend. They lost to Team Freedom 2-3, a devastating loss. But to maintain your morale through that, knowing that you had to win another series this weekend versus just as capable of an opponent, is phenomenal play from this team.
Octalysis fought back so valiantly.
Oh, they did.
And that last team fight is all it came down to. Getting that bot lane control back was a pretty big moment for ENDEMIC towards the end of that game. Else they're funneled through chokes and they have nowhere to really retreat to. So getting that back at just the last moment, contributing everything that they have to get that back, allowing them to team fight on somewhat even footing. But Octalysis, they fought back furiously. They just came up a little bit short, but ENDEMIC to come out and take down what many perceive to be as a top 2 or 3 team here in North America to keep their Western Clash hopes alive is a major statement.
It felt like that game boiled down to Dreaded and Biggie. Could Dreaded get in, find the kill? Biggie was always the target for the team because take him away, you take away the scary aspect of resets. Or does Dreaded go down first? Can they catch him? Can they find this mosquito who is jumping all around the team? And it started out and it seemed like once Dreaded got on a tear, there was no way that he was going to be caught. But later on, finally, ENDEMIC rallied and one final time made it so that they could make that final push. What a game, what a series to close out our weekend.
It started with the stun on Dreaded, who was going in looking for a kill. That'll be one that I want to go back and watch later, and it was just such a clutch play to start that. And for all that to land there and end up in ENDEMIC's favor, the going got tough there for quite a while. Towers of Doom always brings the action.
And it does. Let's check in with Michael Udall now. Mike, congratulations. That was a heck of a series. Your series versus Freedom, same thing. How are you guys feeling right now?
Hyped. I don't know. We had 2 best of 5s this weekend. I'm just really happy we won the second one because Western Clash is now still a possibility. So I think everyone's feeling really good. I mean, we still have a lot to work on and improve on, but I think we're really happy we beat Oct, especially for Dane and Cure. Those are their old teammates. Like it's got to feel extra good for them to, you know, beat their former team.
It has to. It has to. You guys lost to Freedom. It was very unfortunate, especially after you guys came back on Brax's holdout. So between that series and this one, what were some of the things that you guys were talking about and trying to improve on to come in and get this win?
I mean, I think kind of communication breakdowns was a big thing we were talking about, where we weren't really on like the same page shot calling on a couple things. So I mean, that's something where I feel like Dansky really picked it up this series. He's a beast. I love playing with Dane. His Hanzo arrows are always amazing. So I feel like he really stepped up. And same with draft. I feel like we really stepped up draft, and that's Cure. So just props to my teammates. They're amazing. I'm so happy we were able to pull out the win, man. It was, woo.
It was amazing. It was so fun.
Yeah.
You've been showing us some great support play too. How do you feel like your transition over to support has been going? Has it been rocky or pretty smooth as you have been playing more in HGC?
I feel like, I mean, there's definitely a lot I need to improve on, but I feel like as a whole, it's been pretty smooth. I'm still pretty early to the role, and I feel like personally, I feel like I played really well this weekend. So that's something where I just want to get better every single weekend, and hopefully next week I play better than this. So I feel like it's been going pretty well. You tell me though. I don't know. I feel like I'm biased.
Well, you know, we were wondering about the bloodlust, but I'm sure you had more behind the scenes ideas about that than we do.
Yeah.
I'll send you over to Jay Howe for some more questions.
Mike, started on Dragonshire. You guys had a clear strategy to push that top lane again, and you ended up giving up a lot. And in those strategies, we saw you guys do it previously in the series, and it struggled for you guys to come back on. What do you got to do to kind of shore that up? If things don't go well, how do you guys get back? Because clearly there's strategies involved. It's just, it seems like there's some fleshing out to do when it doesn't go well.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm saying is like communication, right? So Dragonshire and Tomb of the Spider Queen, though, those are maps that are a lot about individual decision making, right? So basically, every single player needs to know where they need to be pretty much at all times and communicating that, right? It's not just being in the right place. That's also being like, hey, I'm here. Like, this is what I see. That way, everyone else can basically like move accordingly. So that's something that every single one of our players has been trying to improve on. And I feel like Dragonshire, especially, that's a map that we need to focus on more. That specific thing of just like, okay, this is where I'm rotating. This is what I'm planning on doing. This is what I see. And then we can adjust. So.
Well, we had an absolute knockdown drag-out game on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and then obviously things got a little bit crazy there towards the end from Towers of Doom. This is a big series for you, and obviously you're excited. You know this keeps your Western Clash hopes alive. But when you get in these games, how heavy is that impact and the stress on the team to keep that communication going and to keep that strong, to clutch out these wins and then come back from that Tomb game?
I mean, I would say it's a big impact. But I don't know. It's a lot. Like, you don't really feel it until the series is over. Like after we won, like after we were going to the boss and like Kira swiped him off, like we all started like yelling and getting hyped and excited. But I mean, that's the job, right? You need to be able to stay focused, stay tuned in, no matter what happened last game, right? No matter how bad you played last game, you need to like bring it back and be like reset and play good this game. So that's something that I feel like this team does really, really well, and that's something that I love about this team.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you about Bloodlust, but I'm going to ask you about Arthas. We have not seen Arthas in a bit, and he comes out main tank. It's a clear strategy to defend against the Greymane. I don't give up too much on scrims, but is Arthas practiced really? Like, where does he come from?
I mean, Arthas, like, so that's a tank that offlaners and tank players have been playing for a while, right? So it's not something we necessarily pull out every single day in scrims, right? Because it's not necessary every single day in scrims. That's definitely like a counter pick. So, I mean, my team was really practicing it. They play it in Hero League. B-Kid played really, really well on Arthas. You know, that's a tank. He's been a tank main for a long time, so he's had a lot of Arthas practice throughout his years. But yeah, it's just something where I don't even remember who said. I think it's B-Kid's like, hey, I think Arthas looks good here. And he's like, you know, I'm gonna go Cindy, baby. And we're like, no, please go cool. It's like, B-Kid, don't do it. So yeah, that's just B-Kid was like, it looks good here, and you know, we trust him. He's our tank.
Well, you guys had a tough series today. You guys clutched it out. I can't speak highly enough about you and your teammates and the way that you guys had the resolve. Octalysis, I know, was a tough opponent. You guys clutched it out, man. Congrats on the win today.
Thank you so much, man.
Mike, you guys' next series is another tough one. You'll be playing versus Heroes Hearth. What do you need to do for you guys to be able to take that win?
Yeah, just we gotta have so much love, you know, like my boy Crowan. We're coming for him, you know. Like I love Crowan. I'm really excited to play versus Heroes Hearth. You know, I feel like they're a really, really strong team. So it's just practicing well this week and then just going into it confident because you know I think we can win the series, right? Like they're definitely the favored team. They're like probably, arguably, them and Tempo are the best team in NA, right? So we're gonna have to definitely play our best.
Well, you've been doing a great job. Your transition to support has been awesome. Your Alex is my favorite. The whole team looking really good. Congratulations on this win. I know it was super important. And the floor is yours for shout-outs.
Thank you so much. First, I would shout out to my mom and dad. They got mad. I never shout them out. But shout out to my mom and dad. Shout out to Twitch chat. Thank you to all our fans. ENDEMIC, of course, our organization. Thank you so much. A lot of us stream. Feel free to check it out. Michael Udall, Cure Hots, B-Kids 2, Big Impact, and Daneski. So thank you all for tuning in. Have a good one.
Thanks for joining us, Mike. Congrats again. So we have some cool stuff to talk about. We're going to look at the standings, but expanded standings, to see the total impact of this win, because right now what we see is ENDEMIC's in third. They're on top of Team Freedom, and they are looking good. ENDEMIC, Team Freedom, and then Team Octalysis. Yes, Freedom won the head-to-head, but we look at the match score, then the game differential, and then the head-to-head, which puts ENDEMIC there. But we can also take a look at what would have happened had Octalysis won that series. Turns out, quite the difference.
And if I'm not mistaken, next week Octalysis is it next week Octalysis plays Freedom?
They have not played each other yet, so it's either next week or week 5.
And if Octalysis, again, before head-to-head, it goes to the plus-minus differential. So with ENDEMIC and Octalysis, there's still, I believe, a mathematical shot, clearly beyond that. Octalysis, if they come in and they 3-0 Team Freedom, and then the plus-minus looks different, the records look different, and that 3-4-5 spot, there is so much up and down that has. That is wild to think about.
Oh, yeah. When you look at the schedule for ENDEMIC is backloaded. We see Heroes Hearth and Tempo. They still have to go up against both of those teams. For Octalysis, they're out of Heroes Hearth and Tempo. They unfortunately didn't win either of those series. Tempo and Heroes Hearth are undefeated, but they still have this is their ramp up time, right? It's basically opposites. Freedom, they've done a little bit of both. Actually, have they played Tempo yet? I know they've played Heroes Hearth. And so when you look at it, it was far more important for ENDEMIC to win this series than Octalysis. It's an important one for Octalysis, don't get me wrong, because we have these 3 teams all together as one. But here is that schedule for ENDEMIC. They only have Heroes Hearth and Tempo Storm left, and all they needed that win more than anything because they lost to Simplicity early on.
And we've seen teams in a similar situation where their record is okay, but then you look at their wins and you're like, all right, it's maybe not that good. But then you see the fact that they took down Octalysis, they took Team Freedom to a best-of-5, and ENDEMIC is still within that grasp. And Octalysis going up against No Tomorrow will be Team Freedom in that last week, but No Tomorrow next week is a game that you expect Octalysis to be able to pick up.
Exactly right. And then you look at Team Freedom versus Octalysis, it may end up being that is a match that determines. That's going to be one heck of a race to the Western Clash for our teams. And it starts next weekend, or it continues next weekend. It started a few weekends ago, but looking at what you can expect for Friday in week 4 of HGC Phase 2 in Europe. What do we got?
Zealots versus Fnatic. Zealots has not had the start that they anticipated, and Fnatic having one of their worst starts. Something's got to give with that one. Monkey Menagerie and Granite Gaming trying to work their way out of the bottom, making sure that long-term they stay out of Crucible range before we hit our way here into those big matchups for North America.
Yes, ENDEMIC does try their hand at Heroes Hearth Esports, who will be looking to prove how strong they are since they play Tempo Storm later down the line that weekend. And then finally, Simplicity versus LFM. LFM hasn't yet gotten a match win. Simplicity did get that one versus ENDEMIC in the first week, but LFM, people keep talking about the potential of this team. The early game they had versus Tempo Storm themselves looked very good for them to at least get some games. So this might be the place where they finally get that match win.
And if ENDEMIC makes it to the Western Clash, I sure as heck better be getting one of those jerseys or those jackets.
Samesies for sure. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us here at the Heroes Global Championship. We'll be back next weekend with more Heroes action. Good night.